Good morning, everyone. I am Ms. Mansi Uppal, Innovation Manager, Edu Reform Project, Chitkara College of Education, Chitkara University, Punjab. Edu Reform Project is a 3-year project working on developing the curriculum of B.Ed, M.Ed and Ph.D. in order to train educators to develop creative, critical and analytical thinking skills among the secondary school students. This project is co-funded by the Erasmus program of European Union. Today, I am here at Chitkara College of Education, Chitkara University, Punjab, along with the project managers of Edu Reform Project and some of the students of Chitkara University for the purpose of celebrating International Mother Language Day. International Mother Language Day or Matri Bhasha Divas is observed every year on February 21 to promote the linguistic and cultural diversity around the world. The theme of this year is using technology for multilingual learning, challenging or opportunity. I thought that this would be the best occasion to showcase one of our projects, which is all about using the technology to make understanding the language in better way. That is the CLIL project. But before taking you to the tour of CLIL project, I would like to invite a student from B.Ed department to tell you more about the importance of language.
A very good morning to one and all. I, Harsup Pavan Kaur from Chitkara College of Education, on the day of International Mother Language Day, would like to share my views on importance of language. In his essay about human understandings, John Locke argues that language is a great conduit whereby a man conveys his discoveries, reasonings, and knowledge of other human beings. Language has a multitude of functions, but the most important is to articulate one's thoughts, experiences, and form mental representations. We represent the real things through our language, and we also communicate the things that does not exist, fantasies and fictions. Our language makes us unique from the animals, as it helps us to imagine the realities and enables us to communicate and cooperate with other human beings and our fellow beings. Cognitive ability is examined by the vehicle of language. Hence, we can say that language and cognitive abilities are interlinked with one another. Our language is an active agent of conceptualizing, interpretation, and understanding the world around us. While learning a language, we also learn the cultural connotations, values, and moral lessons. We can say that we live in such a country which has a diversity of languages. Thus, we should give space to our mother tongue as well. And if we give the instructions to students in the mother tongue, they foster a greater well-being in the school. Teaching the second language along with the first helps the students to learn both the languages in a much easier way. As we know that India is a country which has a diversity of languages, which gives a greater scope of multilingualism and the benefits of it as well. Furthermore, the 3-language formula which has been adopted by the Indian educational policy adds cherry to the top, and it reaps the Indians' linguistic diversity.
As I promised before, that today I am going to take you all to the virtual tour of the CLIL lab in the Chitkara College of Education. So here I am. But before starting that, let me tell you about the CLIL project. CLIL stands for Content and Language Integrated Learning. CLIL India was a 3-year project which was co-funded by the European Union under the Erasmus program, which began in the 2016 and was successfully completed in 2019. The project had a consortium of 7 universities from India and Europe dedicated to develop a new model of bilingual education by introducing content and language integrated learning as an innovative pedagogical tool in Indian education system to preserve the nation's multilingualism. India represents a unique example of ethnic, social culture and religious diversity that brings it a very rich linguistic diversity. In India, there are a total of 121 languages and 270 mother tongues. The need to protect and preserve and promote languages stems from the integral role it plays in culture and identity of person and society. CLIL is an innovative method that can supplement the three-language policy in India. Under the CLIL India project, Language Talkies, CLIL Lab was established at Chitkara College of Education, Chitkara University, Punjab. Let me take you to this tour. The area where we are standing is called the reception area. The Language Talkies has been created very thoughtfully. The lab has been created by allocating different areas to the different form of communication, maybe it is verbal or non-verbal. The reception area of the lab is titled as the Ministry of the Languages. This area is dedicated to the sign language through which we all can communicate. Signs are very frequently used by the teacher in her classes in order to motivate the learners. Now we are here at the second section of this lab. The second section of the lab is dedicated to teach students the business communication and telephonic booth is the part of this section which helps the students to groom on their telephonic skills. This area has also dedicated to express one of the self through the medium of art. Not just that, in order to enhance the vocabulary of the students in different languages, a word web is also used. The right side of this section is dedicated to emojis, the language of 21st century learners. The left side of the section has a wall museum which showcases the journey of the CLIL project since its inception. Now welcome to the third section of the CLIL lab. This section is called the Bhasha Translation Zone, which acquaints the student with the different languages of the world. The systems have different softwares which can be used by the learners in order to enhance their linguistic quotient. The fourth section of the Language Talkies and one of the most favorite section of students as well as the educator is dedicated to the use of games in order to learn different languages and is titled as Gaming Zone. This zone has karaoke station which has song of different languages and is the stress buster zone for all the students of the campus. Ending up my tour of the CLIL lab with the quote by Nelson Mandela. He has rightly said, if you talk to a man in the language he understands, that goes to his mind. But if you talk to a man in his own language, that directly goes to his heart. That was the main motto of this CLIL lab, delivering the content that goes directly to the heart of the audience. With that being said, I hope this tour was useful and an entertainment for all of our audience. As I have mentioned before, the CLIL Lab and the CLIL India project was co-funded by Erasmus Plus program of European Union. Currently, we are also working on another project by Erasmus Plus, that is EduReform. Let me take you to the project managers of EduReform project, Ms. Elda and Celia. They are going to tell you more about what Erasmus Plus and EduReform together are doing currently and what EduReform project is all about. Over to Elda and Celia.
So as mentioned by Mansi earlier, this project, the EduReform project, goes under the Erasmus Plus program, which are programs co-financed by the European Commission. Our project which consists of 11 partners, four European universities, 4 Indian universities, and schools, both European and Indian, and a small and medium enterprise. The aim of our project is to enhance creative, critical, and analytical thinking skills among secondary school students. Why are we doing this in our project? I'm sure you have all heard about the Fourth Industrial Revolution, but do you know in what this Fourth Industrial Revolution consists of? My colleague Celia is gonna talk about it.
So as Alda just said, I'm sure you've all come across with the term, and if not with the first, second, and third industrial revolution. So the fourth industrial revolution is a fusion of advancements in artificial intelligence, in robotics, in the Internet of Things. So for example, I'm sure you have all seen some drones now, the internet on your phones, the 4G is also, the 3D printing, which is super trending right now. So all this is the fourth industrial revolution. But this is changing the way we live, the way we teach, and the way politicians govern us. Everything in our surroundings is being changed by the fourth industrial revolution, which means that also our jobs will therefore change. That means that we need to upgrade our skills to match these new dynamic societies and highly technological societies. Because research has proven that half of the current jobs are at risk of automation, which means that half of the jobs that are currently out there will be done by robots and not by humans. So what is the solution? We need to have the skills to do jobs that robots cannot do. And research has proven that these skills are creativity, critical thinking, and analytical thinking skills. So this is why at EduReform we are promoting these skills in secondary school classrooms via providing training to the teachers. So
to the in-service and the pre-service teachers.
Pre-service teachers. But you might wonder, what has this to do with languages, right? So there is a very important link between languages and these 3 big skills I have just mentioned: creativity, analytical, and critical thinking skills. So for example, let me just mention critical thinking. No? So imagine you're a kid and you are developing your critical thinking. So you need to know more words to explain more complex concepts you're learning. So the more complex your thoughts become, the more critical you become with your surroundings, the more your vocabulary will be enhanced, therefore the better your language skills will be. And another important aspect is why is it good to speak several languages? So for example, there might be many words that you cannot find a translation in English. So learning a new language helps you to say the unsaid, no? Things that you might not be able to say in your language, you find it in others, which also unleashes our creativity, because we can find new emotions, new skills that we were not able to define until we learned a new language. But what do you think, Alda?
No, I agree with you. Knowing the more languages you know, the more you have new concepts that can describe what you feel, or also objects. I can give my example, but also you are an example yourself. We have lived in different countries, we have studied in different languages. Myself, I can say that it is easier for me to think of a word in another languages that is not my mother tongue, because it doesn't exist, or because it's an old and it's not that common. So we have borrowed words. Now words, they travel. We lived also in globalization, and also words travel, and there are words that are used in Italy, but we still know the meaning even if we live in another country. It's common to know like how love is in Italian, like amore, or it's the same in Spanish. The Latin languages are now known even in countries like India, for example. So yes, I agree with you when you mention also the concept, because there are feelings that you need to have a notion, a concept describing these feelings, and if they are not in the vocabulary in your mother tongue, it's good to know other languages. So that's why we find that both CLIL project and EduReform project, they can work together, because also language is part of education. We study it when we grow up, and yeah, I think these projects can go hand in hand together.
And I think we wish you all International
Mother Language Day. And do not forget to follow us in our social media.
So we are active on our LinkedIn page, on Facebook page, on Instagram, and we have a website, edureform.eu, so don't forget to check us and to follow us.
Thank you.